Hi, and welcome to another edition of Things Jesus Never Said. It's been a while since we've been together because, well, COVID-19 has disrupted our lives. If, like me, you are working and living in churchland, as I call it, you are facing unexpected challenges. How to continue being church when our physical doors have to close. A lot of us have switched to live streaming our masses and switching our other ministries onto Zoom. And it's kind of scary, uncharted territory, but it's also an unprecedented opportunity. People who may have been too shy or too scared to walk through our physical doors are now more likely to actually walk through our digital doors. It's a time of uncertainty and great stress, and a lot of people are asking questions about what comes next. What do I do with my life? Or what does it mean that when all of the other stuff in my life has ended, my life still goes on? And, they're trying to find ways to sort this out. And they may turn to your church because it's the church where they had their sacraments as a child, or it's the church in the neighborhood, or it's the church their neighbor goes to and their neighbor seems to be a good person, so why not? So, how do we put our best foot forward, so to speak, during this time of completely new way of being church? If you are live streaming for the first time, like so many of us, there are some really basic things to take into consideration and keep in mind as you do this. Some are technical and some are what I call semiotic. So let's dive in first to the technical. Live stream, audio and visual. And you would think that, the visual is key here because it's video, but actually what can make or break your live stream, what can make or break a good video, is actually bad audio. A lot of churches have kind of just set up and started live streaming ad hoc. I'm guilty of that as well. But a lot of churches are relying on the mics built into their cameras to pick up the audio of what's happening. And unfortunately, that does not translate well. It actually comes across very low and very weak and difficult to follow. If you're already familiar with the pattern and the rhythm of the Mass, it's not a big deal. It's annoying more than anything. But if it's someone who's tuning in for the first time, maybe experiencing Mass again for the first time in a long time, it can be just enough to cause them to stop the feed and go looking for another one. And they'll stop and they'll land on one that does have good, clear, strong audio. So, how do you fix this? Let me just say it is almost always possible to route the audio from your in-house system directly to whatever live streaming device and platform you are using. It does take a little bit of know-how, so this is the moment to reach out to any parishioners who might be audio techs, who might work in film, who might work in the music industry, who may deal with audio boards on a regular basis. They can probably give you instructions by email or by phone. You may just have to take a photo of your audio system and they can work with that. But it can be done and it is worth the time. So invest the time to figure this out. It probably isn't going to require a lot of high-tech solutions. And if worst case scenario, your audio system can't be routed to your live stream, it's really easy and inexpensive to invest in little lav mics like this. This one was about $20 online that can plug directly into whatever computer you're using to stream your Mass. So it's really simple and there are a lot of ways to get good audio, and good audio will keep people watching. The second thing to keep in mind is we don't want to clutter the visual field. This comes into play mostly around the altar. If you are a parish that puts your candles on the altar instead of to the side, this is super important, especially if you are a cathedral and you're using the 6 candles and you're putting them in front on your altar. Bear in mind, you don't want to have them lined up flush at the front of the altar. This is going to crowd the field. This is going to make the frame really too busy, and the eye is just going to wander all over this frame, looking at the candles, looking at the candelabras, looking at the candlesticks. The eye is going to look everywhere except where you want it to look, which is right in the center where all the important stuff is happening, right? So a quick, easy fix is to take those candles that are set up flush to the front of the altar and just angle them slightly. You'll notice that the Vatican does this. They have 6 candles on the altar, but they are just angled at the corners of the altar. What this does, it's super powerful. It seems simple, but it's super powerful. It actually draws the eye towards the center of the frame. It draws the eye to what's happening at the center of the altar. It seems like a silly little thing, but it works. So try that. The next thing is what I call a semiotic consideration. Remember, the cardinal rule in communication in general is you can't not communicate. So everything you do that is public facing communicates something. And it might not be the thing that you were intending to communicate. What do I mean by this? Well, in this scenario, I mean that every jurisdiction right now has rules or guidelines about how many people should be gathered in any space and how far apart those people need to be. For example, where I'm living, the health authority has said that in a church, it would be safe to have up to 10 people practicing proper physical distancing. So when we start streaming our masses, we are making sure that between the number of people in the altar taking part in the liturgy and the number of people behind the camera, we are no more than 10. Actually, we're trying to stick well under that number. People know what that number is. They're watching the news. They know what the health officials are saying. So if your jurisdiction, say, has said that a maximum of 10 people is safe, but on screen you've got, let's say, 9 or 10, plus another 3 or 4 behind the camera, or maybe even just 2, maybe a camera person, a person switching the camera angles, and a photographer roaming around. So you've already exceeded your numbers. People know that. And what does that communicate? It communicates that the rules don't apply to us. Especially powerfully, this comes across when there's a big crowd of people around the altar. So there's a celebrant, a concelebrant, a couple of servers, a deacon floating around, all around the altar. It's not possible to really enforce the 2 meter of distancing if you've got too many people around the altar. And what that unintentionally communicates is we're special. The rules don't apply to us. The rules that the health officials have brought in don't apply to us because we're church. And the principles of science don't apply to us because we have collars. This virus won't get us. We know that's not true. This virus does not respect borders. It does not respect titles. It does not respect vows. So really take that into consideration. Streamline, minimize the number of people involved in your Mass as much as possible. Ideal scenario is your presider, a deacon who will also function as server and potentially gospel reader, if that is an option for you. If you don't have deacons, then your presider and a server and 1 reader. 3 people on the altar. That's the way to ensure physical distancing. And Catholic Masses, this is totally possible. Anglican Masses, this is not possible as they need to have 1 other person at the altar besides the presider. But for a Catholic Mass, there is no reason to not streamline as much as absolutely possible. Consider what you are communicating visually to people who tune in. If you choose to have 6 people around your altar. This is an unprecedented time, and nobody is expecting an exact replication of your regular Sunday Masses. But they are expecting a Mass, simple and beautiful. Music is another big issue. Bear in mind that singing is one of the most riskiest activities in terms of spreading the droplets that carry this virus. So if you are going to have live music, and it's not the priest simply singing a verse as he enters and a verse as he exits. If you are going to have a cantor and maybe an accompanist, keep them very, very well away from everyone else who is participating, and they should have their own microphone. They should not be sharing a microphone or a space, an ambo, with anyone else because of the fact that they are singing and their droplets carry further. Keep that in mind. That is so, so important. Once you've taken all these things into consideration, you've got your live stream going, and you've put together a liturgy that will translate well on screen, don't forget to tell people where and when they can watch this. There's nothing worse than cluttered visuals, cluttered graphics on Facebook where you have to really like make it big and search for the information, or mass information that's buried under like 3 levels of menus. Make a very minimalist, bold, eye-catching graphic. Put that at the top of your website, top of the fold, so to speak, above the fold, and replicate that minimal, simple, bold, eye-catching graphic for social media. The body of your post that goes along with that graphic should be a list of the times and locations to watch the stream. All other information goes on your COVID-19 update page on your website. This is for one really big reason. Most of us are finding right now that our brains are in safe mode. We can't absorb a ton of information, and we just don't have the bandwidth to go searching for information. So make it as simple and clear as possible and put it front and center. That is the one thing you need to do, and create a tweet, schedule a tweet to go out at the time that your live stream will start with the link to where that live stream can be watched. People just surfing around online will come across this tweet, realize, oh, it's starting now, and they can click on that link and go directly to your live stream. These are just a few really simple, really basic things to help people find your stream, and then when they do go to it, find something that is easy to follow and is appealing and inviting. This is the time to throw open our digital doors as wide as possible. Do this, and I guarantee you, once we are able to open the physical doors of our church again, you will see growth. See you next time.